Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fan Frenzy podcast. I'm your host, Chris Borgia, alongside co-host the damn balloons, bro. I can't even finish the intro. Co-host Ben Lotman, co-host Gabe Layden, and our newest co-host Jake Holzhauer.
What's up,
Jake, tell
guys?
everybody who you are. Let them get a feel.
Right. What's up, everybody? My name is Jake Holzhauer, and I met Chris doing a podcast for WHIP, radio show for them, doing national sports. And when I joined this, give you a little bit of a story when I joined this. So Chris texted me at like 1 in the morning, like a week ago, and he was like, "Yo, I got something that I think you would love to do. Okay, I got this podcast, and we would love to have you." And at first, I was not like, I was tired. It was 1 in the morning. I wanted to go to bed, so I was like, "I'm not sure, man. I don't know. Let me sleep on it." And when I woke up, I literally told Chris, like, "Man, I don't think I want to do this. I mean, I don't have the best schedule over the summer, but it literally felt like I was being recruited, like a college like athlete going into their program. He was like, "Bro, you're perfect for this role. We want you on the team." And I was like, "I can't give up that offer." So now I'm here, and I'm thankful to be here, and I'm glad to meet everyone and be here for a while.
Yeah,
We
to
used
to
the whole
give
NIL
some
transfer budget. We used all of
to
our
Yeah,
NIL.
all of it's gone.
to give some insight to the fans, obviously, it's always been me and Ben, diehard Philly fans, beating up on Gabe a little bit. Now Gabe's got another guy with him. He's got a New
Let's go.
Yorker
Yeah,
to
I was
help.
looking at your background, and I see some Giant stuff. Let's
Yeah,
go.
Yeah,
I'm
you
wearing
see it?
Giants right
Oh yeah,
now.
there it is right there.
I'm gonna throw something out there though. You do have one New York team that's separate from each other, and it's basketball. Keep that
That's
in
fine.
mind.
I mean, listen, I'm not as anti-Knicks as I am anti-Sixers, so I think we'll be all right.
This
Uh,
guy.
I think we'll be all right.
Today's show, we're gonna be touching base on some NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, and we're gonna touch base on some MLB since the MLB season is looking pretty fire, especially for the Phils right now. I know we all see that rolling. Best team in baseball at the current moment, not the Yankees. Sorry, Jake. Um,
oh,
to
Already
get it
started.
start to get it started though, I think what series do we want to touch base on? We have the Celtics and Cavs. We have the Pacers next. Or you know what? Before we even get to that, we'll just talk about the aftermath of the first round. I know me and Ben were really high on the Sixers making it out of the first round. It didn't go in our favor. Guess what though? The NBA has now made the Sixers the most mad team in the NBA, and now they're looking to pursue Jimmy Butler and LeBron James.
Jimmy
One of the
Butler
two.
does not want to go back there. There's
Are
no
you sure
shot.
about
I
that?
LeBron
Because
James, get that out of here,
as
bro.
of recent, now you know what? You know what? I'm
LeBron?
gonna save it for my player of the week. I'm gonna save
Okay,
Jimmy
all
Butler
right, yeah,
stuff.
that's
Spoiler
fine.
alert: my player of the week is Jimmy Butler, and I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it for that.
Wow.
yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
for me, as a Sixers fan, I'm not as disappointed as you would think I would be. I think,
Neither am I.
as you saw in Game One of the Knicks versus Pacers, they've had the rest on their side the entire playoffs.
Agree.
So there's that. But also, the Knicks are just a deeper team than the Sixers. Um, Joel Embiid was not healthy yet again, which is the story of his career. But he was
Not to cut
unhealthy
you
yet
off.
again, and
Not
yeah,
to cut you off, but literally not having half your face and no knee and still dropping 30 points is crazy. That's crazy
yeah.
to me.
No, I mean Joel is just such a good player. Even when he's hurt, he can still kind of help out the cause. But I think
Hmm.
the Sixers should really look to get more depth instead of getting a star player. In my opinion, there's a lot of good free agents coming out. I wouldn't mind the Sixers signing Isaiah Hartenstein to be a backup center. Just saying that would be a nice signing. But yeah, I mean, there's not really great stars this season. Like Paul George, he is okay. Like he's good. Nobody's
This
denying he's a
off
good player,
season's
but
not star heavy. That's
yeah,
more towards 2025.
yeah, and I think Daryl Morey should sign a bunch of role players because the Sixers have two star players, and over the last few years, NBA teams that have won championships haven't had three stars. They've had two. So I
Hmm.
kind of like the direction the Sixers are going as long as Embiid, can try and figure out how to be healthy for the playoffs, which I don't know is possible, to be honest with you at this point. I mean, it's been what 6 years in a row of him not being healthy in the
I
playoffs at
just,
some point. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
unfortunately.
I was
I think
talking
the
to Ben
biggest
about this. Go, Jake, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Of
I think the
course,
biggest
first
thing
episode.
that you guys need is a backup center, because Paul Reed as a backup center, like not being able to get
He
those
should
rebounds,
start
is
it.
not the best.
He should be in the starting lineup, but specifically at the 4.
Yeah,
That's
but
my main thing, especially since Tobias is going to be gone.
using him as a backup center is not his role at all.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think Paul Reed might be gone, honestly, because his contract isn't guaranteed, so the Sixers could release him and end up retooling that bench, because unfortunately Paul Reed just can't stretch the floor as a 4, and you kind of need a stretch 4 if you're playing with Joel Embiid.
I would
So
agree.
I think that there's a lot of guys available in free agency, that are good, solid role players, that the Sixers could look to
So-
sign. And I think they should definitely look to re-sign guys like Kelly Oubre, Nick Batum, Buddy Hield, guys like that.
Here's the
Move-
thing with your situation is I think you have a pretty decent team at the base level, but your problem is like the fundamental, like, I guess, factor in basketball right now for why there's a certain team like the Knicks succeeding is I think you need your best player to be a facilitator, or at least have a like superstar facilitator on your team, which is why James Harden I think made a lot of sense for you guys. But when you have Joel Embiid in the post and he's getting doubled and he's passing it out of bounds and there's a wide open pass to Tyrese Maxey and he's at the top of the key, he passes it out of bounds, right? Like, he just can't pass, and we know that. He's a great player. As much as I hate on him, he's an absolutely great player. Unfortunately, not the playoff riser that the Sixers probably need. Maxey might be that case, though. Maxey might be a playoff riser as we're watching him, or as we've seen him over the past series. I think you need. I mean, as much as I just don't think you're going to win a championship with Joel Embiid. I think unless you get a better player that's also a facilitator. That's why I think Jalen Brunson is doing so well. He's not the player that Joel Embiid is, right? We can get that out of the way, but he can facilitate unlike Joel Embiid can. I think Maxey, if you made him the star of the team and he's really at that level, and you get a team around him that of like really good sharpshooters, and maybe if you still have Joel Embiid on the team, but he's playing a different role, I think it might make sense. I don't know. I see like the Paul George, I see the Jimmy Butler, which, by the way, that man keeps his receipts, right? The whole Tobias Harris over Embiid incident. I don't know if he's going to want to go back to play for the same GM that chose him over, or chose Tobias Harris and
Well,
Brett
it
Brown
was a
over
different
himself.
GM. It was a different GM at the time,
It
but
wasn't
he's
Morey.
still no, it wasn't Morey. It
Oh,
was
okay. So
well, I
I
mean,
take that back.
Elton Brand is still in the building, though. So your point is
Right.
is taken, but
I mean, maybe there's a chance then.
Moving on, though, is there any other games we want to touch base in the first round, or should we move straight into the second? Because most of the other games, I think we kind of expected.
The Magic versus Cavs series was really a fun series to watch for me. I predicted the Magic to win, but I think that series proved that playoff experience is really valuable, because
it was
that Magic team is more talented, but Donovan Mitchell just carried the Cavs. Like, it was actually one
That's
of the
my
biggest
thing.
carries I've ever seen. It was crazy.
That is my thing. It was a good series, but that was literally just them versus Donovan Mitchell. I mean, the the Cavs upset me because I like their roster overall. I think they have a good roster. They don't know how to put it together, though. They don't. Darius Garland had a really bad year comparing to the years before that and all. And bro, his contract's really about to start hitting too. I think either next season or the following. And I'm talking like 30 to 40 million a year. And then once that happens, right, Donovan Mitchell is still in talks to leave. Evan
There's always going to be
Mobley.
rumors about him going to the Knicks. Like, that's always
Yeah.
going to be the case.
Evan Mobley has to get a big contract soon. And do you plan on keeping Jarrett Allen around as your 5? So it's very questionable with the Cavs, but
And I don't know how long the Cavs can keep going as well, because they won the series, but the Magic averaged more points.
they're not gonna
per
win.
game.
They're not gonna win this round.
They're not going to pass the Celtics.
No.
They might win a game, but that's about it.
Unfortunately, it sucks. Nobody in the East could beat the Celtics at this current moment.
I think we're speaking too soon. I don't know. Like I said, I mean,
It's unfortunate.
Jason Tatum is the best player on the Celtics, and if you really take that whole mindset of you need to be a facilitator, which the guy can pass, and we know that. But I don't know. There are some times in the last series. I mean, didn't they drop 2 games to Miami? I mean, like, that's.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that
trouble.
the Knicks almost lost to the Pacers. Like, I don't. That first game didn't give me a lot of confidence in the Knicks, if I'm being honest with you.
I think no matter what, the Knicks are always going to be in a close game. I don't think they have the offensive firepower to blow teams out, but they always win with their defense, and they're always going to stick in the games.
Yeah.
Exactly. As long as you put yourself in that position, I think you're setting yourself up for at least a close series.
Yeah, I just think Boston is better what New York does than New York, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. They're also just a better team.
Yeah.
Any other series?
What about Minnesota and Phoenix? I just want to say Kevin Durant sucks. Devin Booker is not even half the player that Anthony Edwards is.
Gabe, you bring up a good point, Gabe. Didn't you and me say that Minnesota was going to stomp on Phoenix?
You know what?
And Ben said otherwise.
I think we remember both agreeing about Kevin Durant just not being the player that everybody thinks he is.
I see.
Look, I'm going to be honest. It was more of the fact that I just didn't realize that Rudy Gobert was going to finally figure out how to play in the playoffs this year.
Wait a minute.
It was more that than the Suns, if anything, because Rudy Gobert has never been a good playoff performer.
Guess what else I
just is going to walk on him? Like it's Yusuf Nurkic. He's a solid player, but I don't think he's going to be the key factor.
I just think Rudy Gobert with Cat hurts a lot of spacing defensively, but for some reason, I guess the two big man thing is working for. I mean, obviously they have
a great coach too, though. They have a great coach.
They have a great coach. They have Anthony Edwards, who's pushing to be a top 5 player in the NBA right now.
Anthony Edwards might be the best player in the playoffs currently.
So far this postseason, I think that's a fair statement. Him and
Brunson, unfortunately, Brunson second.
Luka, Donovan Mitchell.
Wait, Ben, who did you just say? Who did you just say right after Brunson?
Luka.
Oh, Luka, the guy that I said that was going to beat the Clippers, and both of you told me, the Clippers were going to the finals. Both of you said it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
Listen, there are a lot of injuries in that series. We didn't factor in the fact that Kawhi would play like one game the entire series.
Yeah.
I mean,
I said the
Kawhi is
man.
supposed to be guarding Luka Doncic, so the fact he was out kind of, yeah. I'm curious though. Do you think Tyler's going to be the Lakers' next head coach?
No.
I mean, LeBron. That's like one of the only 2 coaches LeBron actually likes. So
I heard they're bringing back David Blatt. Honestly,
anybody but Darvin Ham. Honestly,
dude, if JJ Redick becomes the next Lakers head coach,
I
wouldn't be so lost.
I wouldn't mind it.
You said
who?
Bro,
he's never
coached.
He's never coached.
You know what I will say?
Sounds great on TV, but he's never coached.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I don't think Frank Vogel was that bad of a coach on the Lakers. I don't think he was that bad.
I mean, he brought them a championship, so
yeah.
And then they see the problem with the NBA is they just throw the NBA throws coaches in the garbage. Tell me what reason they had to throw for the Phoenix Suns to throw Monty Williams in the garbage.
Well, poorly run franchises throw coaches in the garbage. Well-run franchises.
Now, of course, Monty Williams' name isn't getting thrown around no more because he's the coach of the Pistons, and the Pistons suck. But like, to be fair, he took you to the finals, and you had the best record in the West.
I think it could just be a matter of teams setting those goals that are just way too lofty. Like they're like, it's either win the finals with this team of D-Book, CP3, and Ayton, or bust, and they lost obviously, and they're like, all right, see you later, Monty. Which it's unfair for the guy because they had like one of the best records in the NBA that year, I think. So
looking back,
had to play against Giannis.
Really bad.
Take it into account. You had to play against Giannis. Like, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, to the second round. So we have the Celtics and the Cavs. I think we touched base on it already. What are we predicting in the series?
Boston 4 or 5. Maybe.
I got Celtics in 5.
Steals a game.
Just one game for Cleveland. That's it.
Yeah, I'll say season 5. Celtics in 5.
I'm going to also agree. I'm going to go with 5. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell might be able to steal one game, but it's going to be awful to watch. Especially if you're a Cleveland fan. Cleveland fans probably got their hopes up so much, but like, dude, you're getting hard carried by one guy, and it's just not going to work. It's a team.
The series in 7, we're going to be shocked.
They're team sports, like they're team sports, and you're not going to win with just one guy. Next up, we have Pacers and Knicks. I think this is going to be a 6-game series.
Me too.
Yeah, I agree.
I got Knicks in 6. I think.
Are we all going 6?
I think all these games are probably going to be close, but the Knicks had that experience of winning close games in the first round, where I feel like the Pacers didn't play as many close games in the first round. And also the Pacers, I'm just not a huge Pacers guy. Like, they have a fun roster, but there's just there's a lot of question marks there where the Knicks have their identity. The Pacers have their own identity. I just don't think it's going to work in the playoffs, playing absolutely no defense at all. Like, the only reason they beat the Bucks is because the Bucks were without their three best players for most of the series, and they barely beat them. So, yeah, honestly, I think I'm going to change it to Knicks in 5. Now talking about it, I just don't. Indiana's defense is just horrible. Like, yeah, I'm saying
I'm gonna take Knicks in 6. I hope though that it can be different. But my only thing is the only way this series is really gonna be changed outcome wise is if the Pacers know what they're doing, because you should not go into game 1 last night and have your best player take 6 shots. That's not okay. Like, everyone saw that, right? He ended the game with 6 points and like 5 rebounds and like 8 assists. That just doesn't make sense to me. Why
Yeah,
is
that's not how
he
you win
only
it for the
taking?
Pacers.
We know Halliburton can shoot. We've seen him before. We know that
Well,
he can
TJ
drive to the
McConnell is
paint.
the best player in the league, so
Okay.
Listen,
going
we
off
know
the
he,
playoffs.
He could do more than
Yeah.
just shoot, though. The guy is like a complete all-around offensive threat.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And why
the
is
Sixers
he
could really use TJ
only?
McConnell.
Why
Yeah,
why
TJ
are the
McConnell, sure.
Pacers only letting Halliburton get 6 shots? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Listen.
Yeah.
I liked what their bench did in game 1. Their bench played really well for game 1. I think Obi Toppin had like 16 points. So
Yeah.
Obi Toppin
they
revenge tour.
what?
Obi Toppin revenge tour for him. He's gonna go off
He's
against
had
the Knicks.
he's had a
Got rid of
solid
him.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Obi's
he's
gonna get
been
some.
good. He's
Obi's
been
gonna
good
get
that
10 to
he's gotten
16
his
million on the
chance.
open market. He's a free agent. He's gonna get like 10 to 16 million on the open market.
That's what I mean. Like, he's been
Probably.
good now that he's got his chance. And like I said, the only way the Pacers win this series is if Halliburton takes more shots and the bench keeps doing what they're doing. Because I think you can outscore the Knicks. They've done it all season, that where they've been getting like 130 points a game, which is insane to me. You got everybody on the offense on that team is an offensive threat. Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Halliburton. They're running Mathurin at the 2, correct?
I want to say that.
I think
Not sure.
so.
Yeah, I think it was Mathurin at the 2, and he's a stud, especially when he finds himself. He's been good. So, like I said, I think we're all. Jake, what did you say? You said Knicks and
Yeah, Knicks in 6. All you have to do if you're the Pacers to take off 2 games is suppress Brunson and make the other players score, but that's so hard to do. I mean, in the Sixers series, Brunson showed how hard it is to actually stop him. But I think the Pacers are going to be able to take off at least 2 games. But that's me being like kind of like optimistic for the Pacers, even though I'm a Knicks fan. Like, I want to see a good longer series.
touching base on the other series though. So we have Thunder and Mavs. This one's really questionable because I know the 3 of us discussed too before that we said the Thunder would win the first round but probably get eliminated in the second because of playoff experience. But my thing here is, right, so obviously the Mavs have been really good. They've been really good. Kyrie Irving's been playing really good. Luka's been playing really good. Daniel Gafford's been a huge piece in the playoffs so far. Do we think that there's too much guys all around and on the Thunder to be able to put the Mavs to rest? Or do we think the Mavs, with all the playoff experience that they've had, all the finals that they've had, Kyrie has a ring behind them and all, do we think that they're gonna wind up beating the
This
Thunder?
this is my hardest series to predict here because the other series,
I agree.
obviously, the other series is already 2-0, so it's like,
And we'll
who's gonna
touch
win that
base on
one?
that
But
because I got a lot to talk
well,
about in that one.
yeah, I do too. But this is definitely my hardest one to predict. I think it goes 7, and
Okay.
I think I've changed my mind. I think I'm gonna go OKC at home. I
Wow.
think I think they have obviously Luka is going to get his, but I think they have the defensive ability to slow him down a little bit, just
Who
a
do you
little bit.
think
That's all you
should
need to do.
play against him? Do you think it should be Lou Dort on him?
Yeah, Lou Dort has to. Yeah,
Okay.
100%. So this is gonna have to lean on Kyrie. I feel like in some for long stretches, Kyrie's
You
gonna
know
have to
what
do
I'm gonna
something.
tell you?
Yeah.
This specific player, I don't think is really that well defensively, but because of size wise, is it bad to pair up Josh Giddey on Kyrie Irving?
I mean, that's
Why not put Shea on
probably
him
what
though?
they're. I think Shea's probably gonna go on him because Shea's a solid defender, but that's the thing though. The OKC Thunder, every player on there's not a guy that's only good one way. They have a bunch of good two-way players. Obviously, Lou Dort is, is one of the best
And
3-and-D guys in the
Chet's
NBA. But
we know Chet is gonna do Chet things too. So
yeah,
like,
yeah, and that's where that's one another thing. I think the lob threat is going to be kind of taken away somewhat just because Chet's in there. He's so long that he's going to be able to slow that down a little bit.
you know
So
what?
I think I'm going to take OKC in 7. Um, yeah, and I think defensively Dallas isn't as good as it looks like they are. I mean, they just played a Clippers team that didn't have a true identity. So yeah, I think their defense is although I will say to the end of the season they were a top 5 defense in the NBA after the trade deadline. So maybe I'm wrong there,
Hmm.
but I just think OKC is better on both ends of the court. But I do think Luka's going to be able to steal some games. So I think it goes 7, but I have OKC coming out on top.
You know, in all honesty, I think the X factor of this series is gonna be Jalen Williams. I think
Which
if
one?
Jalen
Yeah,
will
which one?
the one that's actually gonna play, guys. The one in the starting lineup. If he does what he's been doing all year, I think he's gonna be the X factor in this series. Because I think we all know, and we've seen it on a consistent daily basis that Shea's gonna give you 20 to 30 a game. He's insanely consistent, and that's what I really like about Shea. Now, I think if Jalen Williams follows up with 20 points too, you get your daily average because Chet's very consistent with his points too. He's been getting like 15 to 18. So you also get that from him, and you get some guys scoring off the bench. I haven't really paid attention in the first round. Does anyone know, did Gordon Hayward play and did he do well?
He did play. I remember watching him. I don't know. I mean, I can pull up
He
the
scored no points. I have the
At
stats up right
all?
he,
now. Nope, literally
he
no points.
yeah, he's only averaging. He played like a little bit. He didn't play that much. He only played like 8 minutes a game.
Yeah, he
So
played
he's
8 minutes a game.
there.
That was a fun game.
Aaron Wiggins has kind of taken his spot, to be honest.
What,
So
him and Isaiah Joe off the bench?
yeah, yeah. Aaron Wiggins has really impressed me, honestly. I didn't think much of him, but of course, Oklahoma City, like that
They know
franchise
how to
is so
develop talent.
scary. I don't
They've
understand
also
how this
had
OKC Thunder franchise isn't going to be a Western contender for the next 15 years. Like,
they've also gave Kassan Wallace a lot of minutes too, correct? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about him and that he's been doing really well. So I think for my prediction, I think I'm gonna go Thunder in 7 also. I like that. Gabe Jake, what do you
Uh,
got?
yeah, I want to pick something else. I don't want to just do
All
what you
right.
guys did, but
Be different.
honestly, no. But the truth is, like I see this going the same way. I think that Luka is able to get. I mean, Luka and Kyrie are able to get 3 games just by themselves, just because they're Luka and Kyrie. And we
Mhm.
saw what Luka did to obviously the Clippers this year, and also the Clippers a few years ago when he really made a name for himself and he dropped like 40 something a game. It seemed like that one series. Um, and I think he's able to do it again, but this is a really good Thunder team. And I think Ben said something about the Clippers not having that identity. And I think that's exactly what benefits the Thunder is that they know exactly who they are. They have their identity as like the coolest team in the league. And I mean, Shea, Chet, Josh Kiddey, as people call him, and
oh my god,
and Jalen Williams. I think they're able to get it done in 7 though, or 6 or 7.
I'm gonna go on the other end of you guys. I'm gonna go with the Mavs in 7. I think
I
that
think it's good that we all said a 7-game series. I think that's fair.
yeah, I think it's gonna go to 7 no matter what. But I think the Mavs, just with the experience, I mean, Kyrie, he's made it to the finals before. He knows what it's like to play in the playoffs and the pressure. And I think I'm a big proponent of young teams not performing well in the playoffs just because it's an
Okay.
entirely different atmosphere than it is in the regular season. And I think the Mavs have enough players that have that experience over the Thunder that's going to help them win in 7.
It's unfortunate, Jake. If only they decided to keep Boban, I would have said it would have been a sweep Mavs.
Boba.
If they would have kept Boban, it would have been a sweep
Like
from the
that's the team
Mavs.
mascot. He doesn't even like. He just
Hey, they only unleash him
He's
in the
not even
playoffs.
on the team anymore. He's on
He's
Houston.
too good. They don't let him play in the
yeah,
regular
no.
season. They unleash him in
Whatever
the
team he's on, he's
playoffs.
the team mascot. He
It's
doesn't-
unfortunate. Now for the most fun series, in my opinion. T-Wolves and the Nuggets. Dude, Anthony Edwards needs to get tested right now. That is Michael Jordan's kid. I don't care. That's Michael Jordan's kid. Like, wow, man. He's unbelievable. The T-Wolves are crazy. I think if you don't say that the T-Wolves are the current favorites right now, then something's wrong. The T-Wolves look like the team to beat. I think if it comes down to the T-Wolves and the Celtics in the playoffs, I think the T-Wolves win.
We might be
In
split
6.
there.
I'm going to say in 6,
Wow.
but I think the T-Wolves win.
I think you could say that, but also Boston really hasn't played anybody yet, so it's kind of hard to get a good grasp on where they're at. And Boston's been the best team in the league all year. But I will say, out of the West, by far and away, Minnesota looks like the best team offensively and defensively. They look the most well-rounded. But I think these first 2 games kind of show you that you can kind of slow down Jokic a little bit. And if you slow down Jokic, then the rest of the offense doesn't work that well because it's playing through him. And if he's not making his shots, then it's kind of like, what do you got? He went 5 for
Correct
13
me
in the
if
last
I'm
game.
wrong.
So,
In
and Jamal Murray.
the game last night, he ended with 16 points, right? And
Yeah.
Jamal Murray
I mean,
had
the
8.
real issue is Jamal Murray, right?
Jamal Murray
I
had
mean,
8. Well, he's not
yeah.
healthy either. Jamal Murray's not healthy either.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he should get some sort of penalty for what he did last night. For anyone who doesn't know, he threw a heat pack literally mid game, and practically someone could have easily slipped on it and like got hurt. So I don't care if it's a fine. I think, in my opinion, it should be like a 1-2 game suspension. But
it should definitely be a 1-game suspension, but it probably won't be because it's the NBA.
And even if it is, they're probably not going to enforce it until next year, and it won't affect them in the playoffs at all.
yeah.
So
Probably won't see a series.
I still think Minnesota is going to win this in 5. Honestly, just Denver hasn't shown me anything. I think Denver's going to win this next game on Friday, but then they're going to lose the next 2.
To give you some insight here too, Jake, this is coming from 3 guys who all picked Denver to win the finals.
Wow.
It was a straight consensus. We thought that there was no one beat Denver because of the roster that they have all around.
I mean, I thought they were going to repeat and go back to the finals. I didn't have them winning it, but I think they're going to repeat, and I thought they were going to go back.
It's not looking that good right now. It's not.
Mm-mm.
Especially if the T-Wolves go up 3-0, they're done.
I still think, I mean, just being down 2-0 isn't necessarily a death sentence, though. I still think that the Nuggets are, I mean, in my opinion, I think that they're going to take the next 2 games and make this a series, but I still see Minnesota winning it in 6. But the Nuggets shouldn't just be like brushed away like that. They're still the Denver Nuggets. They're the defending champions.
It's just,
assuming that there's no suspension, then
but even the T-Wolves bench has just been unbelievable, man. I think both of the guys that they played on their bench, like good minutes, both had 14 points. That's already 28 points off your bench. Not to be that guy, but like Naz Reid, he's good.
Listen, my brother can tell you, I called this guy a bigger Zion Williamson when he was drafted, and I was absolutely right. No, I'm joking, but I mean, he's been very solid.
It's just so hard to repeat in the NBA as champions, and I think you look at this Denver team, and it's a very similar team, almost exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some issues there. If you bring back the same team, these NBA level coaches are going to figure out something. You can't be perfect. There's some way to defend them. Mm-hmm. And I think this series, Minnesota has kind of been able to figure that out, whatever it is. I'm not an NBA coach, so I can't explain it to you in great detail. But I think, Jamal Murray has also been not a fan of anything going on. He's been really bad these first 2 games. So you gotta hope if you're a Denver fan, he figures out, because if Jokic isn't scoring, Jamal is gonna be open, and he's gotta figure out how to get some buckets, because Michael Porter Jr. is not gonna win you a series by himself. So
Let's go, Jaden McDaniels. I'm gonna say T-Wolves in 5. Jokic already bought his ticket back to Serbia. T-Wolves in 5.
He's gonna be horse
What's
racing
that-
in no time.
Yeah, what's everyone else picking?
yeah, I said the same thing.
T-Wolves in 6. So
All right.
I agree with Gabe here. Yeah, T-Wolves in 6.
Okay. Moving on to the other playoffs that are going on right now. The one that's been real fun. So last episode, Ben, do you recall when me and Gabe said Dallas Stars and you picked Vegas?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
recall
he
that?
recalls that. Yeah, he recalls that.
I do
Yeah,
recall
it went
that,
to
and
a
I- and I-
7-game
and
series.
I'm not upset about that pick. The fact I picked Vegas to win against the 1 seed in the West and it went 7 games, I think was a good,
Right? Right.
decent call.
It went to a
and look,
7-game series. It was a very good series.
and they lost by 1 in Game 7.
All right. To throw some insight too, me, Ben, and Gabe were all with each other Sunday night, and I showed Gabe the score of Dallas, and it said 2-1 final, and me and Gabe got so hype. We were like,
I just looked at it. I'm
yes,
like,
dude.
we know ball. That's all it is. Or I
Yeah,
guess we know puck in
exactly.
this case.
No puck.
We know puck.
Yeah. to let you know, Jake, me and Gabe both are still correct at this current moment. Me and him both said Dallas winning the cup. A little bit of bias from
but
me.
hold on a second. You also had Toronto winning the first round too, right?
I did have Toronto winning the first
Yeah.
round.
So let's take
Hold
a step
on,
back
though.
here.
Hold on.
I'm still right too. I had Edmonton winning the cup.
Yo, hold on,
and
though.
they've
Hold
looked
on,
like
though.
one of the best teams in the playoffs.
Both
so
of you guys laughed in my face when I said Toronto was at least going to take it to 7.
You
Both
did say
of you
That's fair.
did.
That's fair.
when they were down 3-1, you said they were making a comeback. You said they were going to win in Game 7, but you were correct, and they forced a Game 7.
They
And they lost
fought.
it over.
They fought,
they
man.
They did the most, but Chris, it ended in the most Maple Leafs way ever.
Of course.
It was more Maple Leafs than if they would have lost in 5 games.
Unfortunately,
Making a comeback
I mean,
all the way to force a Game 7, then losing
dude,
in overtime on a
the
simple
part
bounce
that
off
really,
the Boris
the
goal.
part that really like makes me think is like, how do you do better without Austin Matthews? Where does that make sense? He had 60 goals. How do you do better without him? It blows my mind. They literally won both those games without Austin Matthews. And
Yeah.
it just makes no sense to me. That's unreal. Yeah, that I don't know. I'm literally just drawing a blank because of that. While we're on the topic though of the Bruins, they recently just won last night. If anyone saw, it was a 5-1. I didn't expect that. I did not expect it. If anybody could beat Boston, it's Florida. They did it last year. I'm praying they do it again, but please don't let Matthew Tkachuk be the only guy to do anything. Horsey was the only goal scorer. He did it all last year. Well, I'm not kidding, Gabe. When I looked at this scoreboard of this game, Jake's going to look at me and laugh too because he knows I'm right. When I looked at this scoreboard and I saw the goal scorers for Boston, I might have known one name at being Morgan Geeky. Or actually, I knew Jake DeBrus too. But like, besides that, bro, like these other guys that you're letting score are not that good. They're really not. You know what I mean? Like, you lose 5-1. Bobrovsky has a really bad night, which is shocking because he's been phenomenal throughout the playoffs so far. I don't really know what to say, but it's just really confusing when you're letting 5 guys score anyways. And I think let me double check. I think 3 of those goals came in the third. I think I might be wrong on that.
It was 2 of them. One of them came right at the end of the second.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I knew it was somewhere in between the right before the third started and at the end of the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, all around they got beat, man, bad. When you look at the team last year though and the team they had this year, you know what? A lot of people are gonna say this is like a joke and that I'm joking about this, but like in all honesty, Radko Gudas played really well in the playoffs last year for Florida. He was really good. He was an X factor because of how aggressive he played and how much of a team player he was. I know you know what I'm talking about, Ben. He was really
Yeah,
good. Like he really left his heart out on the line
Flyers
for
legend Radko
for
Gudas.
the yeah, for the Panthers, and it's unfortunate that he's literally in Cancun right now with the Ducks. They should have re-signed him 1,000,000%.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, this series is interesting because Boston, like Florida, looked so dominant in the first round, and Boston choked a 3-1 lead. Well, almost. I mean, they ended up winning, but they blew a 3-1 lead. Uh, But going into the series, I thought Boston was going to win in 5 because throughout the year, Boston has played their divisional opponents really well for the most part. Obviously, they came second in the Atlantic, so they didn't win, but that was more due to the fact that they were horrible against the Metro for whatever reason. Um, and this Boston team is just built for the playoffs. Like I think Toronto has more talent than Florida does. I know Florida is more of a playoff kind of style team, but I think talent wise, Toronto has more talent than Florida does. And I just like I hate to say this, but I like this Boston team the way it's built. They have two really good goalies, so if one of them's sticking up the shed, they can just take him out back and put in their other guy, and they like both those guys could be starters on a lot of playoff teams. So their goaltending is stacked. Their defensive core is stacked. Now their top six, they have star guys. It's not completely full, but I think this Boston team is just destined to make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals yet again.
I think the crazy thing here too is that I didn't even get to mention there was no Pasternak last night, which
Mm-hmm.
is insane to me. There was no Pasternak. Um, I'm gonna predict though. I'm not scared after the one loss. I'm still gonna say seven game series, and I'm gonna take Florida. If any team can beat Boston, it's Florida. I'm gonna take Florida in 7. What are we taking here, guys?
I know I had Boston originally, or I'm pretty sure I did in either 6 or 7. I mean, one game definitely does not define a series, especially in a 7-game series. But
Mm-hmm.
I still think, I mean, having a 1-game advantage is still an advantage at the end of the day. I have Boston 6.
Okay, Jake.
I haven't been paying attention. I'm not a big hockey guy that much, but
It's fine.
I agree with you guys. Boston, I think they're gonna win. Already have one game ahead, and like Gabe said, it's a really really big advantage already. So I'm gonna go Boston 6.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, I still think, like I said, Boston 5. I just think they're more talented. I mean, it proved it. They didn't have Pasternak, and like
5.
You know
really
what?
destroyed them.
It's fine, guys, because every time I've been by myself, I've practically 99% been right besides Toronto, and Toronto made it a
Yeah, I was
7 game
gonna say
series.
there's a lot of 1% there. There's a lot of 1%.
So besides that, I'm pretty happy to be by myself. Um, now let's talk about the Stars and Avs a little bit. Gabe, I know you and me really both like the Stars. Would you agree with me when I say that one of these two teams is going to win the Stanley Cup?
No, I would not agree with you
Hold on, he didn't
at
ask you.
all.
He didn't ask you. He didn't
Yeah,
ask
who
the
said
guy
I
that got
asked
the.
you?
He didn't ask the guy that got that round 1 series wrong. By the way. All right. I mean, I have Dallas still winning the Stanley Cup.
I like it.
I mean, 7-game series against Vegas, so I might be a little fatigued, but I think at the end of the day, I still got them winning. So I do agree with you that one of these two teams will be winning the Stanley Cup.
I say it though
Yeah.
because the Avs have so much experience and they've won before that they can easily do it again. And do you know the big thing here, Ben, that I didn't even talk about because I know you're just gonna feel real salty when I say the name?
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
Dallas hasn't fully clicked. Not everybody's been fully clicking yet. So once they really find their stride, it's gonna be something really
I mean,
fun
who
to
says they
see.
are?
And do you know what name I didn't bring up yet? And I know Gabe's been loving this guy recently. Wyatt Johnston. 7 games played with 4 goals and 3 assists up against Vegas. Vegas was debatably the top 3 team in the league, And Wyatt Johnson really showed that he's got that dog in him. And if he keeps it up, bro, this is a 20-year-old player that we're talking about. He's my age. He's currently
he's
my
my
age. All right, he's your age too.
That's kind of scary.
Like, bro,
Yeah.
this dude is 20 years old. He was literally born in 2003, and he was born in 2003, and he's literally disgusting right now. I'm telling you, once Pavelski, Rupe, Miro Heiskanen, and a few of these other guys fully find their connection, like the connection in the playoffs, they're gonna be something really to worry about, especially with Wyatt Johnston the way he's playing right now.
Well, Chris, I hate to tell you, but they're probably gonna have to wait until next year because they're gonna lose in 6 to Colorado. So
I do have it. I do have it as a 6-game series,
and
but
McKinnon, Brandon, and Makar are just one of the best trios in hockey. I mean, that's just 3 of the top 20 players in the league are on the same team. Edmonton has a duo. This team has a trio. One of them is a defenseman. I just really like this Avs team. I know their goaltending is questionable, but the Stars just didn't look right to me in the first round. I know the Golden Knights kind of forced them into that. To be honest, I think the Golden Knights outplayed them and got unlucky in Game 7. But I still think Colorado is going to win in 6, even though Dallas is definitely the favorites heading into this series, I would say.
I'm going to take Dallas in 6.
I'll go Dallas in 7.
All right.
I think the fatigue might set in a little bit.
I'm going to split it right down the middle, and I'm going to agree with Ben and go Colorado in 7.
All right. Listen, this is kind of similar to like the Thunder and Mavs. This is a really hard series to predict, honestly. They're both really good teams all around. Like I said, though, I got Dallas. I really like what they got going. Moving on, we have we'll touch base on Ben's team, Canucks and Oilers. The Canucks had a good first round. They won in 6 over Nashville. I thought they would have won it in 5 or 4 because of the way the Canucks have been this year.
Nashville hasn't. That's kind of not.
See, here's my thing.
I don't know how I feel after
before this even was a series, like before the playoffs even started, if you told me that these two were playing in the second round, I would have said Canucks. But looking at it now, I'm kind of uneasy with the way that series went against Nashville. I didn't think Nashville should have been as much of a struggle for them as it was. Don't get me wrong, Nashville's a good team, but like, man, the talent that the Canucks had and the way they played this year, I don't think it should have been that much of a problem. I'll put it to you this way. To relate it in another sense, I thought of it as Boston up against the Heat. The Heat had literally no Jimmy Butler. They had no Jimmy Butler, and you struggled. Like, this is crazy to me how the Canucks actually really struggled. So, that being said, I think I'm going to go with the Oilers.
One thing that scares me, though, Chris, is that Edmonton is 0-4 this season against Vancouver.
It can change. It's playoffs.
Yeah, it can change. The playoffs are completely different. So I agree with you. I have Edmonton winning in 6. Connor McDavid has 12 points. Connor McDavid has 12 points in 5 playoff games. I just want to say that this guy might be the greatest player of all time when it's all said and done. I know that's crazy, but he's by far and away the best player in the league, and it's not even close.
We gotta wait.
You're not the only person saying that, are you?
Yeah, listen, we gotta wait because Wayne Gretzky held a record of 214 points in one season, which is unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
I mean, I don't think Connor McDavid can do that, but the fact that he can put up 150 points is kind of insane in today's NHL.
I'm gonna take Oilers in 6. I like that. I'm gonna join you on there. What do we got, guys?
I'm going to Edmonton. I'll take Edmonton in. I'll go 6 as well.
Okay.
I'll take one less game off of that. Oilers in 5. There's no stopping.
Whoa. He's having fun out here.
And now the Oilers are going to get swept. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah. You're not by yourself. Woohoo. Now, is that the first series that we all agreed on throughout this episode today?
We might all agree on the last one too. Yeah. Because I think it's.
No. For the last series, it's Rangers versus Canes. The Rangers are up 1-0. Ben, if you dare
The Rangers
say
are winning in
Rangers.
5. Dude, the Rangers are winning in 5. There's just no chance they're not winning. There's no chance. The Rangers cooked the
One
Capitals. I know the
second.
Capitals suck, but
1 second.
no.
Say that again.
Yeah, the chat said he was hearing that right.
Yeah, Rangers in 5.
You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable. You're unbelievable. I'm taking the Canes. The Canes are phenomenal. Aho's going to get it going, and Aho's going to own the Rangers, and he's going to take it to 6, and he's going to win it.
Can the Canes rename themselves?
I don't like the Canes slander. I don't.
It's not Canes slander. It's just the fact that the Rangers are stacked. That team is so good.
The Canes are the most deep team in hockey.
Yeah, but they don't have that superstar power. In my opinion, compared to New York, they have superstars, but they're not near.
Wow,
dude, New York has the Red Man.
Guess what? Clippers versus Mavs 2.0. The Rangers have all that star power. No. They have all that star power like the Clippers. And then guess what? All the Canes need is 2 guys, and they're gonna come in and they're gonna destroy them. Give me the Canes in 6, baby. And I'll stand by that. I will stand by that, and I will defend myself to the day I die. Canes in 6.
All right. Well,
yeah, I still have Rangers in 5.
I had the Rangers playing the Stars in the Stanley Cup. So I'm gonna stick with my prediction.
Gabe.
Yeah, I had the Rangers versus the Oilers.
Dang it, Gabe.
Yeah, Jake? I still have the Rangers making the Stanley Cup. I'm gonna say, give me the Rangers in 6.
Jake, maybe by yourself on 2 games on them. You might be by yourself on this
Chris, one, Chris. I'm not gonna bet against my favorite hockey team, bro. I am not going to bet against my favorite hockey team. Rangers in 6. You are alone.
No. You know what? Fine. I'll be alone again, and I'll win again. I'll do it again. I've been correct most of these playoffs, and I'm going to do it again. Moving on for everyone's favorite segment. I've been saving it. I'll start us off because I already spoiled mine. My fan player of the week, I have indeed picked Jimmy Butler. Why? Because Jimmy Butler's coming back to the Sixers. He's fighting with Pat Riley. And what did he say? He had the quote of the year. If I was playing, New York would be at home and Boston. Bang!
He had 2 quotes of the year. He had 2 quotes of the year. You saw what he said to Tom Thibodeau?
No, what did he say to Tom Thibodeau?
He said that he would beat him to a pulp.
Oh,
that's what he said. For a guy that didn't play.
The smoke is coming out, bro. Jeez.
And then,
man, Jimmy
Tom
Butler
said that he didn't know who he was or something like that.
Listen. We can all agree here that Jimmy Butler has that Philly energy. We can all agree here.
Yeah.
He has the Philly energy.
I don't think he's coming back, but he does.
Bro, he literally talked about 2 of their rivals that we don't like. Like, why would he not want to come back? We know he wants out. He does not like Miami. He's sick of Miami. He's like, dude, I've carried this team so far in the playoffs, and they let me down every year. He's like, Caleb Martin was the only one who did anything, and that was last year.
Why would he want to go back to a team that got rid of him for a player that was way worse than Tobias
Because
Harris?
It was Elton Brand, and Elton Brand doesn't have a position of that hierarchy anymore. He doesn't get to say anything, and if he does, I'm gonna be mean to him.
I'll say this: Jimmy Butler 100% keeps his receipts. We all know that. I feel like his loyalty isn't so much with or against Elton Brand and Brett Brown as much as it is maybe the Sixers organization, but we'll see. We'll see what he thinks. I do have the quote here, though. Jimmy Butler to Tom Thibodeau, he says, "I love Tibbs, but I don't want Tibbs. Tibbs, I love you, baby, but I want to beat you. I want to beat you to a pulp. You want me, I don't want you. It's like a one-sided relationship. You in love with me and I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You know what I'm saying?" And then Tibbs responds back. Hold on, let me see where it is. And it's almost even better. He says, "Who don't know him?" But I would beat him to a pulp, is what he said onto that. That's crazy.
All right.
That's so funny. I don't think Jimmy's coming to Philadelphia. I really don't know where he's going to go, though. I can't give you a better prediction than like what other teams is he linked to realistically? Like I guess
not
the Lakers
any
are always
other
up
team.
there.
Not really any other team. The Lakers can't afford him.
I just know when he wants out, he really wants out. Like we heard the stories in
Minnesota
I'll be honest where they cut out the. he cut out like the Timberwolves logo outside of the shirt, so
listen.
he was like crazy.
I'll be honest with you, Ben. I think if anything, the Sixers would take him or LeBron. I don't think they would really stoop for anybody else. Brandon Ingram in an elimination game had 8 points, and he sucked, and he's always hurt. Paul George is really regressing bad. I didn't think it was going to happen this soon. And, like, I mean, is there really anybody else I would go for? I wouldn't mind getting, like, a guy like Lauri Markkanen, but I doubt it would happen. Like, I think he would be a phenomenal four, but it's not going to happen. So, like I said, I think Jimmy Butler or LeBron are one of the two perfect candidates for Philly.
I see Paul George for you guys. I don't know about the other two.
He regressed too much, man.
Really
I don't like
Paul
it.
George.
I know, but you also don't get to pick and choose with this. I mean, I guess you kind of do with free agency, depending on how much you're able to offer them. But
bring me back Kelly Oubre, though. That's my dog.
Yeah, that's not a bad fit for you guys.
Moving on, we're gonna give our newest member the spotlight. Jake, who is your fan player of the week?
All right, my first ever fan player of the week. This guy has been blowing it up recently. I mean, he's on my he's a baseball player. He's on my fantasy team, and every single day for the past couple days, he's been nonstop mashing. And I'm going with Shohei Ohtani, baby. I have the stats pulled up right now. In the last 3 games, he mashed 4 home runs, and he has 7 RBIs. He leads the league in average. He leads the league in home runs right now, and he is the best player in the MLB, hands down. Hey,
Jake,
right
you want to know something funny? He could be all that good. Mookie Betts could be all that good. Freddie Freeman could be all that good. But once the Reds really click, that's a bad job.
That's so crazy. He has the Reds beating the Dodgers in the playoffs, by the way, just so you know.
Just so you know, the matchup
he's psycho right now. Yeah. How about them Reds? If the playoffs started today, the Nationals would be in the playoffs and not them. Just telling you.
They have a worse record than the Nationals.
Yeah.
You're lying.
Yeah.
There's no way. What are they third behind the Cubs and the Brewers?
No, the Pirates are ahead of them.
Pirates.
The Pirates
have.
Pirates suck.
The Pirates are tied, but they have. Yeah, they played 2 more games. They've also won one more and lost 1 more. But...
You know what? Matt McClain isn't here yet. You wait. All right, pal. Wait.
We're waiting.
We will be
to be fair, looking at the standings, it's a really close conference right now.
I think there's a lot.
St. Louis is last with 15 wins. They're literally a game behind Cincy. It's a close one.
My player of the week, I'm gonna go back to my homer picks. I know last week I wasn't a homer pick, but I gotta go back.
Is it a Tennessee Titans player?
No.
I thought it was going to be Tyler Boyd since he just signed.
No, it's not Tyler Boyd.
The oldest receiving core in the league.
Yeah, but hey, that Tennessee team's kind of looking good. I'm not gonna lie, but
of course it is.
I'm not a Titans fan, guys. I'm still not a Titans fan.
Will Levis jersey. All right, go on.
Will Levis wins MVP. I'll buy his jersey. How about that?
All right.
No, but my player of the week is Alec Boehm. He had the longest hit streak since Jimmy Rollins was a Philly. I believe it was 17 or 19 games, something like that. Somewhere in that range.
That is the best third baseman in baseball currently.
So far this season, he's playing like it. And look, I mean, I'll take this time to just talk about the Phillies as a whole. I know everybody's like, oh, they haven't played anybody, but you can only play on your schedule, and the Phillies have just dominated. They haven't let any of these bad teams beat them. I mean, they're 9-1 in their last 10 games.
The Giants are not a bad team. They usually give every team they play a run for their money, and the Phillies dominated them. Like, come on now.
And this is now with a Trey Turner who's going to be out the next 6 weeks or so, a Bryce Harper who hasn't really been all that good. He's batting like 255.
Nick hasn't been good.
Nick has been one of the worst hitters in baseball, but he's on the come up the last week or so. He's moved up his batting average about 30 or 40 points, so he's on the come up. Johan's been batting this Phillies rotation has been the best in baseball. So, it's a long season. The Phillies, by the way, are 3 games up on the Atlanta Braves in the division, by the way. And who called the Phillies winning the division? I did call that. But I will say it's a long season, so I'm not saying the Phillies are going to win the World Series tomorrow. Like they have been the best team in baseball, but there's a long way to go. But I'm really happy that they started off good for once, because they never start off good. At least in this Bryce Harper era, if you want to call it that, they have never started off hot.
Yeah.
Are you guys
And they
afraid
have-
now that you're starting off hot? Because usually, like the past 2 years, the trend has you've been a slow start and then hot towards the playoffs. Would you rather be hot to start off or hot going into the playoffs?
Hot to start off, because then you'll get cold and then you'll get hot again towards the playoffs.
I mean, you could say that, but also maybe the Phillies just never aren't going to be hot. Maybe they're just going to be hot all season and end up being one of the best teams in baseball. I mean,
That's what you hope for.
yeah, I mean,
It's hard to do for 162 games though. So
yeah. I mean, the best teams every year they have like one little slump, maybe. Sometimes teams just don't have slumps. Like the Dodgers never
That's
had
possible.
slumps. So
Because the
like,
Dodgers want to sign every superstar just to win 100 games to lose in the first or second round.
yeah, I will say the only thing I'm scared about as a Phillies fan is if we do actually win the division and we get that bye. I really don't like that bye. Zach Wheeler had 6 days off. And before, not his last start, but the start before that, he had 6 days off, and he said it really messed him up. So that makes me not so confident if we have a bye in the playoffs. Maybe they'll have hopefully they'll have some sort of system in place where they can throw like a simulated game or something, but it's that really makes me nervous. The fact that Zach Wheeler was like, yeah, 6 days is like too much. Like it screws up my routine. So I'm really scared for that. But Gabe, who's your player of the week?
My player of the week, the fans' player of the week, King Ryan Garcia. I'm taking a trip to the boxing world for a second, right? So this guy, coming off of a loss to Gervonta Davis.
The cheater. Sorry.
Coming off of a loss to Gervonta Davis, right? Who was a very tough matchup for him. He was one of the best boxers in the division. He was a heavy underdog. Well, not the heavy underdog, but he was a pretty heavy underdog against Tank. He lost the fight to a body shot, which was it was something, that's for sure. Now he's building up this fight against Devin Haney, who's another one of the top names of the division. Ryan Garcia is a heavy underdog this time around as well. So we don't know what to expect here because, well, I mean, we kind of do know what to expect. And I mean, with all due respect to Ryan Garcia, he's showing signs of mental like regression, I guess you could say, on this path to fight night, right? He's posting all these crazy things on Instagram. He's saying that he's drinking every day. Definitely not in the right shape for a fight. He comes out fight night, or it comes out the day before the fight, 3 pounds overweight, so not even close.
And chugs a beer.
I'm fighting anyway. I don't care if it's for the belt, right? I'm fighting anyway.
Chugs a beer at the weigh-in.
Chugs a beer at the weigh-in. I forgot about that part. Steps in the ring against Devin Haney, nearly knocks him down, or I forget if he knocked him down in the first round or if it was close. Then went on to knock him down 3 times in the fight. The first time Devin Haney had ever been knocked down. Wins the fight by unanimous decision after almost knocking him out, which would have been Devin Haney's first loss. Wins by unanimous decision. Hands Haney his first loss in his career, in his professional career, and then comes out a couple weeks later, oh, he's on PEDs. Well, okay, Garcia's fighting that now. We'll see what happens. The guy
was definitely
so I don't. We kind of know what to
PEDs.
expect. The guy seems a little out of it right now. So,
See, do you want to know why I know that he's on PEDs? I think the main. Well, no. I think I predicted him to beat Devin Haney. I wanted him to beat Devin Haney. I'm kind of upset with him.
Did a little bit.
I'm kind of upset with him that he's on PEDs, but my main thing here is I definitely know that he's on PEDs because he went on Instagram Live. I wish I got it on video, but he literally threw up his hands like this and went PED gang. So I do truly believe that he is on PEDs. No way around this.
It's a sad story because I mean I don't know if you watched that fight, if you watched that fight live.
I did watch,
but you're just kind of like, what is happening here? Because this guy was plus 800-900 at some point, going into the fight, and now he's just crushing this guy. And he has a 3-pound weight advantage, which is a pretty big deal, but like not that big of a deal. But I guess it kind of makes sense now.
Yeah, and definitely that decision is definitely going to get overturned, probably. I would say, and they'll take that loss off his record. But
which is a big deal for Devin Haney going into further fights.
Yeah, I really wish they would have a rematch, but there's no way Devin Haney is going to agree to a rematch after his opponent used PEDs and was 3 pounds overweight.
Unless the impossible happens, and Ryan Garcia was right all along that he took some sort of legal substance that just so had to happen, or just had to happen. Whatever PED was in it. Very low chance of that happening, but who knows? I guess who knows, right?
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah,
on.
who knows?
Moving on, we're gonna travel back into the baseball world. Talk about the first little bit of baseball that we got so far. So recent news. I know this happened during our little break between episodes. Luis Arias was traded. I think me and Ben love it. Get the single merchant out of the. Get him out. Get him out. He's no longer in the NL East.
I was
Happy.
confused by the Padres doing that because I mean I'm pretty sure he's been playing. I saw him.
He's going to
plug
be
in
their
as
DH.
Yeah, I saw him
Yeah.
plug in as DH.
Mhm.
He also played second base, but
He should
was a
not listen.
weird-
I'll put it to you this way: he should not play. He should not play second base. He's not good defensively. DH is perfect role for him.
he's a perfect, but it's so weird seeing like this big of a trade happening this early into the season. But the
Mhm.
Padres have shown time and time again, you can trade for all the best players in the world. Still not going to help you. The Padres
But the
it's still not gonna
Marlins
help
have
Padres.
have
the thing
been really bad, and the Marlins don't know how to be a good organization or how to run stuff.
I also would not be surprised if that is not the last trade between the Padres and the Marlins this season. The Padres need some more starting pitching depth, and it seems like they're going for it, which is weird because they traded Juan Soto, so if they're going for it, why didn't they just keep him? But, Michael King has been awful. I mean, as a Phillies fan, we just destroyed him last week. He's been awful. Their starting pitching depth hasn't been it.
Yu
Their aces
Darvish has
haven't
not been good.
Yu Darvish
Joe
hasn't.
Musgrove
None of their
hasn't.
good.
No
None of
Blake
their pitchers
Snell.
have.
Musgrove's been okay, but
Yeah, they need some more pitching depth. I don't think they're done, and I think the way the season is going, Arizona hasn't been great. San Francisco's been awful. The last week or so, they've had a lot of injuries, so that's kind of why they've fallen off. Colorado is Colorado. So division-wise, obviously, you're not going to catch the Dodgers. They're already the Dodgers are already 6 games up in the division, which is crazy. But
you know what's even more crazy to think about?
Those wild card spots are still going to be up for grabs. I mean, they're right there. They're definitely going to be buyers.
You know what's more crazy to think about than that, Ben? I have a trade prediction incoming. I think Jake's gonna like this one. I got a really good trade prediction coming.
Let's hear it.
No, Jake, it is not for the Yankees. It is
Oh.
actually for my Phillies. But I think this is an interesting one. There's rumors that the Marlins are going to be selling a lot of their guys now that they got rid of Luis Arias. I think it makes sense if you got rid of Luis Arias that you're going to be selling Full House. With that being said,
no, that's not happening.
With that being said, what are the chances that the Phillies trade Nick Castellanos for Jazz Chisholm Jr.?
0.
Why would the Marlins do that?
The Marlins would never do that. Number one, Nick Castellanos still has another year in his deal. Jazz.
The Marlins are selling. If you throw a prospect
they're
with
not going to
it,
trade. They're not going to trade Jazz in division. If they
Even if
trade
they
him, they're
are
going to trade him.
selling, even if they are
Jazz
selling,
is-
Jazz is the face of their franchise right now.
they
would be
traded
stupid
JT in the
to build him.
division.
Hey,
to not build around him.
Chris,
They traded JT in
that
the
was-
division.
That was different. That was in the offseason. That was completely different. And the Phillies had way better. The Phillies don't have that. They have good prospects, but they don't have that kind of depth. And I don't think the Phillies want to trade a top prospect in division. I think Josh Chisholm.
Bro, they've been in talks to
here's
trade
why-
Aiden Miller. If you trade Aiden Miller and Nick Castellanos straight up for Jazz Chisholm Jr., I don't
That's
think
not
the
gonna get accepted.
Padres. I don't think the
Uh,
Marlins hesitate.
They say no because they're going to get better offers. Jazz Chisholm is going to get traded. I agree with you. I think he's going to get traded because they could get immense value for him, and he hasn't proven that he's the superstar that it seems like everybody thinks he is. He's shown it in glimpses, but he hasn't proven it on a consistent basis. And defensively, he doesn't really have a position. I mean, he's been playing center field. He's played second base. Like, where's his true position? Nobody knows.
Then who do you have the
I do
Phillies
think-
trading for? Because we're not trading for Trout, obviously, since he got hurt again.
I don't think the Phillies really are going to trade for a position player. I just don't think anybody's going to want Castellanos. He has negative value right now. So
A bad team would take him, though.
no, he's being paid
No.
so much. A bad team doesn't want that contract. I think if the Phillies trade for anything, which I don't know if they will, they'll probably get a reliever or two. get some more depth in that bullpen.
Do you think they could
But-
get
but
David Bednar off the Pirates?
Do you want
don't
David
really-
Bednar off the Pirates
No,
right
I
now?
don't. He's been
Yes.
horrible. He's been horrible.
Yes,
this
but
year.
he could
He has like
easily
an
be
80 ERA.
revived. He could easily be revived, and now, buy him
And-
low. Buy him low.
and
We
he's
did the
not
same
used to
thing with
not being.
Spencer.
He's not gonna.
Bro, the Phillies did the same thing with Spencer Turnbull. They bought him low.
But that was a free agent. That was different. They're gonna have to trade.
Okay. You're not gonna have to trade a lot for Bednar the
it's-
way he's playing right now.
It's
For a
way
team
too
that's
early
trying
be
to
talking about
rebuild
that.
anyways.
Dude, the Pirates are in a position to compete for a wild card. I don't think they're sellers right now. There's a long way to go. You got to give it another month before we start making serious trade
That's what I mean. No,
considerations.
I'm not saying right now. I think definitely a month from now that he could easily be gone.
Could David Bednar be traded? Yes. Will he? I don't think so. If they were going to trade him, they probably would have traded him last season when they were actually horrible and he was really good. But I think, speaking on the Central, Rhys Hoskins and the Milwaukee Brewers have really surprised me. I thought they were going to be near the bottom of that division, and they've looked like one of the best teams in the National League. I mean, they've looked better than the Braves as of recently.
How do you dump off one of the best pitchers in the league, and yet you're still
and their
competing
manager?
for spot?
They dumped an amazing manager who's getting paid a ton of money, and yet, I mean, you look at it. Well, William Contreras has been
absolutely amazing.
One of the best catchers in baseball. Willie Adames has kind of, he's done what he's consistently done, batted .260, hit for power. And, Rhys Hoskins has also brought some power to that lineup that they've been, not having. And then you got Jackson Churio. He's struggled, but he's been good defensively. I know Chris picked him to be Rookie of the Year, but it's not looking too hot, Chris. He's batting .222. But
I'll be good. He'll be fine. I still had
good.
Corbin
I don't think
Burns
he's
and
gonna
Zach Wheeler for Cy Youngs too, so
Yeah.
we'll
And
be fine.
Christian Yelich, watch out for Christian Yelich. He's kind of finding some of that form again. He's batting .333 with 5 home runs this year. So
Ben,
watch out for him. But
for 2 minutes, Ben, I want you to talk about the Athletics, and then we're gonna give
Oh
Jake.
my God!
We're gonna give Jake. Then
I
we're
wanted
gonna
to
give
talk about
Jake
the
and Gabe
Athletics.
the floor to talk about the Yankees.
okay.
We're gonna talk about the Athletics for 2 minutes.
We can touch on the fact Oakland. What are they doing? Moving to Sacramento for 2 years and then going to. I hate that, but I shout out to that team because they're competing way over their heads right now. They're 5 games up on the Houston Astros. 5
They're
games
17
on the
and
Astros.
You want to hear a crazy stat that I don't think anyone is prepared for right now for the Athletics? Because I have a bunch of stats pulled up right now because I wanted to kind of talk to them. So they're 7-3 in their last 10, but right now they are tied for 3rd in the league in home runs with the Phillies. First is the Orioles, second are the Dodgers, and then the Phillies and Athletics are tied for 3rd
How
in
many?
home runs. 44 total home runs as a team.
Is
But
Brent
that's
Rooker?
insane.
Is Brent Rooker hitting?
Brett
him?
Rooker has 8. Yeah,
Yeah, he has 8 of them right now.
Shea Langoliers, JJ Bleday. What the heck? JJ Bleday is still playing in Major League.
Shea Langoliers was actually pretty good though last year. Not gonna lie, he wasn't the best, but he was good.
I mean, he's batting 180, but basically every time he's like Kyle Schwarber, except they're very similar. They both suck at defense, but yeah.
I think it's funny that we're talking about the A's like this right now, and I look at their score currently against the Rangers, and they're down 15-4.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I think you look at it. Oakland's bound to fall off a cliff. There's no way this power is going to keep up. I know they have Mason Miller, who's been one of the craziest relievers in all of baseball this year. And by the way, the thing with Mason Miller
he's been really
that nobody's
good.
talking about, everybody's like, oh, they should trade him. They're not going to trade him, number one. Number two, next season, you're hearing this from me. I've seen people talk about it. He's going to be a starter next season, and he could be absolutely disgusting as a starter.
He's going to get the Garrett Crochet
I want to
treatment.
say one quick thing, then we're going to leave the rest of the show for the Yankees. I'm really shocked that Detroit's not doing as good as I predicted.
Well, they're over 500. I mean,
I think they're still overperforming of what they did last year.
Yes, but me and Ben both said that they had the shot at the division.
Yeah, I mean, I will say
them and the Royals. I said the Royals too because I like the Royals and Salvi Salvador Perez is playing insane baseball. I'm so happy he found
Salvi,
himself
if the
again.
season ended right now, he would win AL MVP, which is kind of insane. But
He's been
yeah,
real good.
I mean,
Jake, take it away with the Yankees.
Absolutely. The Yankees right now, I mean, they've been consistently one of the best teams in baseball right now.
They're
And
second behind the Orioles. Do you have confidence that they can
they're second in
surpass
the
the
Orioles.
Orioles?
They just dropped 3 out of 4 against the Orioles, which was kind of tough to watch. But I mean, it's just I love
It's early.
watching Juan Soto. It's early, but I love watching Juan Soto, and the pitching has been good without Garrett Cole. I mean,
Yeah.
like Nestor
if Juan
Cortez,
Soto gets hurt, though, you guys are screwed.
he is, but like Alex Verdugo's starting to pick it up now, and the bats are starting to fire a little bit more. Judge the last couple of
Oswaldo
games
was doing
have
really
been
good
better.
beginning of the season.
Oswaldo cooled off. Anthony Volpe cooled off. Gleyber Torres has been struggling all season. But if you just wait for these bats to wake up, and especially if you just wait for Judge to wake up, then this team is going to be even better than they already are.
Do you have
Yeah,
enough confidence for them to surpass the Orioles, though, in the division, or no?
I do. I think they can do it, especially when Garrett Cole comes back, which is not going to happen for another month or two.
Yeah,
But
Garrett Cole being gone hurts, man.
It does.
Hasn't
but
Rodon really taken a big step, though, this year?
He is doing way better than he was last year. Last year, he had a really, really rough year, but he was battling injuries. And this year, he's been better. He still isn't that Cy Young candidate from 2 years ago with the Giants, but
yeah, I mean,
he's an average pitcher right now, which is all the Yankees that can ask for.
Your pitching rotation has been average. I would say everybody has been average. There's been nobody that's been good or bad. Everybody's just been okay. I think the Yankees don't have a bench at all. Your bench is tragically bad. And I think the issue, I feel like you guys are going to have to trade for a first baseman because I know Rizzo's been better this year.
But he hasn't been up to his standards.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys need a corner infielder because I know obviously Cabrera could slide over to first, but he's been I like Cabrera better as a bench option. Maybe get a third baseman.
He's better suited as a utility guy.
Maybe trade for Chapman, even though he's been horrible. You know, who knows? I thought Chapman was going to be signed with the Yankees this offseason. But yeah, I think you guys are probably going to end up finishing second unless you make some big trades at the trade deadline, which is possible. But this Baltimore team is just a wagon. Like they're just really, really good. They have the second best run differential in baseball, which is a big stat I like to look at. So yeah, just it's a tough division. It's a tough division. I know Tampa and Toronto haven't been great, and I mean, everybody in that team is kind of mid except Baltimore and you guys. So
time and time again, this is the toughest division in baseball because it's always so close. So it's hard to like really predict what's going to happen. But I think this year the clear runners are the Orioles and the Yankees for the top two.
Hey guys, I just want to say that I predicted Toronto to come in fifth, and look where they are right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Chris, I saw Vladdy. Vladdy hit a grand slam, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that
just smiling.
Hopefully that could like boost him a little bit.
It's all right. It's all right. Because guess what? Vladdy's gonna get traded too.
Vladdy's not getting traded.
What's that?
Vladdy, bro, they gotta do something. They're not in a good position at all. They're gonna keep being mid every year. They gotta make a move.
It's their pitching more than their hitting. Their hitting has been fun.
It's all right because guess what? They can have Nick Castellanos. Yay! Vladdy can play DH.
The fact that you're starting IKF is just kind of one of your issues. If you're starting IKF in the MLB, then
they signed him to start too.
I know. Yeah. That was dumb.
Jose Barrios has been awesome though. I'm excited to see what the Phillies can do against him tonight.
Last points on the episode.
Lil Mets.
Whoa.
Alex Manoah still sucks.
We're not. What are we doing over here? Like what? Like we're
Uh,
okay.
Lindor's coming back. Lindor's on fire right now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We're all right. We're better than what I thought we'd be doing. Even though Ben
Gabe,
mentioned, I think in the
last
first MLB
thoughts on the
episode, that
episode, Gabe.
my last thoughts, we're okay. I think we need some veteran pitching in the clubhouse. I'd like somebody like Justin Verlander, maybe Max Scherzer, or, one of those two. No, I'm joking.
He's
But
yeah.
we're all right. I don't mind where we are, especially I'd want to re-sign Pete Alonso just because he's like the culture of the team. We're okay. I'm not expecting a playoff team right now, but I think down the
Yankees
line.
are gonna.
You
we're
still
okay.
waiting for
Yeah, you
Juan
wanna hear
Soto
my-
next year?
my
I have
crazy
one. I
prediction?
have one final point, real quick, and that's
Yeah.
that I emailed. Okay, so I have an 89.27% in one of my classes, right? I emailed the professor, and I was like, "Hey, could I I loved your class so much." No, I didn't, and the class was terrible. But besides the point, right? I was like, "Is there anything I could do to get that 90?" He just emailed me back. I will say I was not in class half the time because attendance was not required, and it was at 9 a.m. The class was terrible, like I said. But we're gonna see what happened. I just got the email back. All right.
Live reaction.
Let's go.
Did
just
he
gave
bump
me
it up?
an A-. He said, after reviewing your class attendance, I maybe went to like 50% of the classes. And participation, you will receive an A- for the semester.
Hey, hopefully he
Bro,
doesn't
I'm
see this,
so
huh?
salty. My teacher,
All right.
I
hold
emailed
on.
one of my teachers too to round out one of my grades, and they
me
said
get
after
the-
looking at it, you just barely fell short. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do.
Jake,
I was so
Let me get the balloons real
Final-
quick. Let me get the
final-
balloons.
now,
There they are. There they are.
Jake, final thoughts on the episode.
Great first show, and I can't wait to keep going on with you guys.
My final thoughts: Dallas Stars are winning the cup. The T-Wolves are gonna win the NBA championship. You stink, Ben. I hate your takes. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad we have Jake along with us. It's gonna be a long road ahead. He's gonna love it. Here, we always have a good time. That'll be it though for today's episode. Stay hyped, stay hungry, and keep the frenzy alive. And we'll see you on the next one.